Greetings, Dragonball fans, and welcome back to Piccolo's side of the What If Raditz Recognized Piccolo coin, where instead of following Raditz after he recognized Piccolo as a Namekian, we instead follow along with Piccolo, as he and his ultimate rival race down a threat like no other from the depths of space. Previously, Piccolo's rumination on his fancy new Goku-ending attacks downsides were rudely interrupted by the arrival of Raditz, Goku's space brother, who had had things to say about Piccolo's people, but had got distracted. First by his headgear, and then by the overwhelming desire to beat his earthbound brother down. After watching Goku get that beat down, into the ground, which was something Piccolo couldn't help but enjoy, he then got to witness the man's son, Gohan, rise up, literally, and put a massive dent in his space uncle's space armor. Just as things were starting to look up, news was relayed from far across the cosmos that his own homeworld of Namek would soon be under threat from beings even stronger than this guy here. Oh, and the cherry on top? Kami showed up. Yeah, Piccolo just can't catch a break, can he? Well, at least that idiot Guardian had some sort of plan in mind, even if it did involve, yuck, touching his arm. After staring down at Kami's outstretched arm in disgust, Piccolo finally groans and takes a hold. Ugh, the touch of his skin is... There's a flickering, and they're now on that lookout place. He'd thought they were headed to that otherworld place. After the requisite ear-popping to equalize the pressure, them now being several thousand meters higher than they used to be, Kami tells Krillin and Goku to go fetch whatever friends they want, and once they've flown off, he finally turns to Piccolo. They stand there, staring at each other for a time, until, sick of the sight, smell, and yes, even just the sound of him breathing, Piccolo is about to turn away. It won't be easy, Kami says. When Piccolo doesn't respond, having nothing to say, Kami clears his throat and goes on. It won't be easy to get you past King Yama, he says. King Yama again? Who's this King Yama guy? A judge? Oh, a judge of souls. Well, that doesn't bother him. He's not dead. When Kami smiles and adds, yet, Piccolo just growls and walks off to the edge of the lookout. He stands there for a while, just staring down at the world. His world. This one world among many? And they're all stronger than him. Well, we'll see about that. He's about to call it quits with all this and go to work on his own training when he notices someone is beside him. Someone quite small. That little Gohan kid had crept over and is about to peer over the edge. Silly child, it could fall. Piccolo wonders how upset Goku would be if it just kind of fell off. Just a little nudge and, he doesn't want to knock the kid off? Why not? Because it's not Goku? Because it's petty and needlessly cruel to someone who can't seem to defend themselves, at least not right now. But why does he care? That same question had run through his mind when he'd saved that girl and her mother around 9 years ago now. Why does he care? But he does. Not about the child per se, but about those who can't seem to help themselves. It was frustrating those few years ago, and it is frustrating now. He reaches down with a slight touch of his demon arm attack and plucks the boy up, bringing him to eye level. They regard each other for a moment, and Piccolo is surprised to sense no fear or anger in the boy at all. And just there, at the edges of the boy's innocent curiosity, is something deep and powerful and almost burning hot. That same thing he felt only a few minutes ago, when the boy had barreled into that Raditz guy. Interesting. Gohan! Someone yells from halfway across the lookout. Piccolo turns and sees that Goku has returned, with the three-eyed man, Tien, was it? As well as that Krillin guy, and a slightly less hedgehog-haired man. Oh, what was his name again? Yamcha? Something like that. Hi, Daddy, Gohan says, waving happily back, still being held up by the back of his smock by Piccolo's grasp. Piccolo, what are you doing with my son? Goku demands, almost in a battle pose. Piccolo looks back at the kid, and then just tosses him towards his father, to much whooping and giggling from said child as he flails about. Nothing, Piccolo says. He was about to crawl over the edge, so I picked him up. Glancing over that edge again, he continues. Honestly, who leaves a child alone in this damned place? Looking to toughen him up a bit by the impact. When Goku says nothing, still inspecting Gohan, Piccolo laughs. I can think of better ways, he says, though mostly to himself, thinking of all the ways he could use that boy, and his seemingly hidden power, to get one over on his father. The inspection over, Goku puts his son down again, but the boy is pulling on his dad's leggings and gesturing towards Piccolo, all while begging, Again! Throw me again! Children. So easily they forget their fears. The collection of warriors complete, with Piccolo, Goku, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, and even his little floating friend, Kami again lays out the plan. He will take them to the check-in station for the dead in Otherworld. No mean feat by itself, and then, King Yama willing, they can travel Snake Way to meet some other King Kai guy. Yet another big shot, apparently. There they will learn some techniques, and stuff that can magically beat back any Saiyans. And once that's done, they'll head back to Earth, and either catch a ride to Namek, or maybe just be wished there, whichever is more convenient. The tricky parts are that, well, they're all still alive, and Piccolo, who's kinda sorta King Piccolo, is not likely in their good books, given the amount of paperwork his past self has probably caused. But then again, if massively powerful beings start gaining immortality, then, well, the death toll will rise even more, so that means even more paperwork. If there's one thing King Yama hates, it's paperwork, which is kinda silly when you consider the man's job. Krillin then pipes up to ask how they'll get back to the check-in station. They don't have to, die, do they? Because that's kind of how he got there last time, and, well, it would complicate things, for him at least. Oh, no, Kami will just take them there. Oh, well, that's just great. More touching that affront to Piccolo's very being. Kami moves off to talk to his attendant, Mr. Popo, for a moment, then returns and says that it's time to go. He holds his arms out again, and everyone takes hold. Everyone except Piccolo. Again, he stares at the arms, his own skin crawling slightly at the thought. No, not crawling. Tingling? Why would it tingle? Revulsion is an obvious answer, but he's not actually sure. Oh well, it's not like he'll ever waste the breath to ask this old geezer about it. He groans a bit, then reaches out and touches the arm, and the world around them shifts, fades out, and after a moment of flickering nothingness, it reforms around them. They are now in a large room. Other people are there, people with horns who glance up, then back to their notebooks, then back up in shock, before scurrying away. Kami! A voice booms from above them. What's the meaning of this? You can't just bring living people here. This is a place for... Oh, hello there, little Krillin. You're looking well. Oh, hi, King Yama, Krillin says, waving up at the massive man behind his equally massive desk. Love what you've done with the place. Is this a new desk? Yes, King Yama says excitedly. It's mahogany. Krillin wanders up nonchalantly and touches the desk leg that's easily as thick as he is tall. Nice, he says, and walks back to Piccolo and the rest of them. The pleasantries out of the way, Kami outlines his, plan. To have all these living mortals head down Snake Way and meet King Kai. They have to hurry, though, otherwise Kami's whole race could be wiped out. And then, once those horrible-sounding Saiyans are immortal, well, who knows how many more bodies will be sent Yama's way. Cities, continents, planets, whole galaxies of the dead. That doesn't sound fun, now does it? King Yama sits there listening to this for a while, considering the little group one by one. When he makes eye contact with Piccolo, his eyebrow goes up, and not breaking the stare, he reaches for a notebook, opens it to the first page, and holds it out for the group to see. On the page there are hundreds of names, all written in red. After a moment, he flips the page, and more names. Another flip, another page of names. After maybe the 12th page, Piccolo has had enough, and asks what this is supposed to be. Your ledger, King Yama says back, his gaze not wavering. It's, well, as you can see. He tosses the book on the ground. It's pretty big, and red, practically dripping with blood. The book is almost as thick as Krillin is tall, and King Piccolo's sigil is clearly visible on the cover. And, what about those Saiyans? Kami speaks up, just a little bit nervously. King Yama shifts target and eyes Kami. Comparing hurricanes to tornadoes, are we, Kami? He asks. Kami shifts a bit and glances at Piccolo for a moment, with almost... No, is that a pleading look? And he looks as sternly as he can back up at the judge of the dead. That's my father's, Piccolo says. Where's mine? King Yama stares at him for a moment, then looks away and digs through one pile and then another. Eventually he calls out for Piccolo Jr.'s ledger and is handed a single sheet of paper. He regards it for a second, then, with a harumph, he tosses the paper down at them. Just over a dozen names and a funny paw print thing in red, and then 2 neatly written in black. Well, that's not too bad, Krillin says. Guess they didn't evacuate Papaya Island in time, huh? That's way less than mine would be, Tien says too. Then, looking around at everyone staring at him, what? You all know what I was like back then. Kami coughs and says that this really isn't the time, then addresses King Yama again. So, can they go? Or can most of them go at least? King Yama regards them all again, glances at King Piccolo's ledger and back to Piccolo Jr.'s a few times, and drums his fingers loudly. There is what sounds like a cough from the line of white puff things, but when Piccolo casts his eyes over that line, there is nothing out of place. King Yama then says, "Fine, whatever. You're not even dead, so what do I care? But you're filling in the forms, Kami." Kami starts to object, but then stops, apparently realizing that they'd actually got their way. As he ushers them on, King Yama calls out to Krillin, and he says that he'll join them in a second. Krillin eventually catches up to them at the head of Snake Way, but is looking a bit pale. "What is it?" Goku asks him. Krillin stammers, "It's just that, we're not dead." "Uh-huh," Goku nods, "I know that." Krillin looks at Goku for a second, then sighs. King Yama said that it'll take us 6 months to a year to cross Snake Way," he says, looking very worried. "So?" Goku asks, quite obviously not understanding at all. 6 months? Yamcha demands. Do they have, restaurants or something?" he asks, peering out around the Snake's Head entryway. "There's something at the halfway mark, apparently, but otherwise, no," Krillin says, and from their expressions, everyone seems to get it. It seems there is no way for them to get there alive. Well, this is a complete waste. Even though Piccolo only drinks water, he doesn't have 6 months' worth on him. There's never been the need, let alone storage space. Gohan, who has been riding on his dad's shoulders, then points at Kami and asks why he can't take us. Everyone, Piccolo included, glances back and forth between Gohan and the wonderfully dumbstruck Kami a few times, before all settling on Kami. Krillin eventually interrupts. When I asked about it, all King Yama would say is that we're not dead, so the rules for dead people don't really apply to us?" "What rules?" Tien asks. "Oh, there's a bunch of them," the little guy, Chaozu, says. "They're really annoying." "Ah," Kami finally speaks up. "I think I know what he's saying." Again, the man's arms stretch out, and again Piccolo is left staring at them. If he had bile in what passes for a Namekian stomach, he'd probably taste it now. A Namekian. He is a Namekian. If this gets him to his people, he'll have to tolerate the old man and that weird tingling feeling whenever he thinks about touching him. And so, as Piccolo reaches out yet again and grabs the old man's arm, and all of existence flickers for a third time, we will bring this part to a close. How do you think their training will go on King Kai's little planet? Is there enough space for them all, or will things get a touch crowded? And what do you think they will learn there? What skills, techniques, powers, and other knowledge will King Kai be able to impart to them? Will Piccolo and Gohan still manage to bond, or will Goku's presence prevent his further fall from demonhood? Find out next time on Piccolo's side of Dragon Ball. What if Raditz recognized him?